What do we need to know about the energies for the week of November 24th through the 30th? Welcome to Trevor's Tarot Astrology and Spirituality. First off, a huge thank you to everybody who's subscribed to the channel. Thank you for liking, watching, commenting on the videos, sharing the videos, hyping the videos. It's very much appreciated. So, this week is Thanksgiving week in the United States. And, we just had a new moon last week, and Mercury's been in retrograde, but it's retrograde slowing down. It's going to station towards the end of this week. So I wouldn't be surprised if there's like kind of a sluggish feeling, even though it's a big week and there's a lot of things that have to be done. I definitely sense that there are a lot of people feeling a little bit sluggish, a little bit um just kind of the I don't want to's. Like I just don't want to. I know I have to, but I don't want to. So just to know that I think could possibly be helpful. I do also think, there is a reasonable chance of, conflict with either friends, family, or even kind of just strangers. That energy is there for people to say things they don't really mean, or for people to say things and it be taken in a way that they didn't mean, which later leads to other conflict. So just be careful with your words, the written word as well as the wording's been going all month. Just be very careful with sarcasm. Sarcasm again, it's just especially in the written form is not going to come across the way that you think it will. So it's probably best just not to use it. There's a hopefulness to the week as well. It's by the time we get to, Tuesday, Wednesday, I think we turn hopeful. And uh, there's also a lot of um, need for self-care. Whether we do it or not, that's going to be a different story. Oftentimes we know the things that are going to make us feel better if we're feeling anxious or agitated or depressed or whatever, not in a clinical sense, but just in an average day sense. We might know that going outside and getting some fresh air or going for a walk might make us feel better, but sometimes we won't do it anyhow. It's kind of feels like that week. So if you can just remember that then maybe you'll do it, right? You'll find it as a charge to do it. So doing those things like going for a walk, doing yoga, meditating, all of these things will make us feel better in the long run. It's also still a really good week to manifest around money, career, these types of things. And in particular, as we head towards the the end of the week. Thursday's generally the day I suggest for money things. That'll be Thanksgiving, of course, so it might be quite busy, depending. Although I definitely get that there's a lot of you out there that are setting your own traditions, making your own rules, which I think is fantastic. Don't feel guilty about it. Uh, don't beat yourself up if you don't want to do the traditional Thanksgiving. It's traditions are meant to be formed in our own ways, right? We reinvent them for ourselves and how we see fit. So there's definitely some people out there that feel a little bit guilty about not wanting to travel or not being able to travel. And, you know, if you can, as best as you can, just let that energy go because it's not really serving anything. And, the truth is, for some of us, we don't want to travel. It's really quite simple. It doesn't feel right. If you're in that group, you don't need to justify that over and over again or feel the need to apologize. I think other people get it as well. So it feels like a pretty solid week on the geopolitical front. I think there'll be a lot of news, most of it negative, but well, negative to some, positive to others, I guess. It's kind of like the chaos isn't going to stop in the news cycle this week. It's not. Even though it's Thanksgiving in the US, it's going to roll right on through. We'll still be getting new information, learning new things as the moon grows bigger this week. And you know, we're also going to feel like the not wanting to be alone necessarily, although that's true for some of us. Um, but that hermit energy of being very introspective about really asking, why am I doing what I'm doing and at this time? Um, and what could I be doing that could be better? For example, there's a lot of like second guessing some life decisions, or current life decisions that we're living with, and maybe trying to think about how to change them for the better. Um, I think nothing but positive stuff comes from this. I don't think of it as a negative, as long as you don't get in your head and start beating yourself up. And just remember that, time only works in one direction for us on this planet. So, we can't go back and blame ourselves for things we didn't know that we now know today. So just be careful with that particular energy. That's been around all month. It can be really overwhelming to, judge your 20-year-old self with your 60-year-old mind, and experiences. So don't try not to go down that rabbit hole. It's not very fair to yourself. Okay. So let's pull some cards from the Angels and Ancestors Oracle deck. What do we need to know for this week? I think it's a good week to give yourself permission to take it easy. If you're still working, if you're retired, you definitely take it easy if you want. Um, or whatever it is, when you're retired, your job is whatever it is you love to do, right? So if you feel like you need a break, then take a break. It feels like there's a lot of end of the year stuff that needs to get done. Um, Somebody's thinking about they haven't used up their health savings card benefits yet. Make sure you do that. Well, I mean, I guess you don't have to, but you should. But he's also put off going to the eye doctor for quite a while. Probably should do that one. Okay, we get the Sage. Be devoted and committed. So whatever it is you decide to do this week, whether it is to travel and see family, whether it's to stay home, whether it's to have family come to you, friends come to you, any of those in between situations, that just be committed to it. Don't second guess yourself this week, because that's the energy that gets us into trouble, is the second guessing. So be devoted, be committed to whatever it is you've decided for yourself for this week. And quite frankly, in life as well. There'll be times for reevaluation later. Spring, see your seeds grow. I think this is a really good point. There's all this manifestation energy out there, and it's been out there for since the beginning of time, I suppose. Um, be on the lookout for things that maybe you were trying to manifest over the summer, like kind of starting to appear. And you might get signals to like redo some sort of manifestation practice, or just think about what it is you're wanting that didn't come true this summer. It just wasn't the right time. I think if you work on it now, I think by the time we get into the early part of next year, maybe to March, things will indeed happen. And then we get the Traveler. move in a new direction. And I think this is about our self-care and our self-thoughts to let them take us to places that we're not so, beating ourselves up all the time about decisions that we've made. And if you're wanting to make a career change or job change, this certainly is the right time to start planning it. It's not necessarily the right time to do it unless you're in a situation where you need to. Um, but it's definitely the right time to start planning it. So I think these are really positive cards. So let's pull some cards from the tarot and see what we get. So this is the Light Seers Tarot. Do we need to know for this week? What energies do we need to know? What energies do we need to know this week? It's it's there's definitely how to say there's a few people coming through here where when you're around family or friends in a large group, you feel like you're almost like you're somebody else. Like, suddenly you're a comedian, for example, and maybe you're making people laugh, and that's not really your personality, but you're doing it like kind of out of a defense mechanism, but nobody really knows that that's what you're doing. Um, and you feel kind of like two-faced about it, I guess. We all have defense mechanisms. We all wear masks from time to time to protect ourselves. That's all that is. I don't think there's any reason to be hard on yourself for that. Um, who we are when we're by ourselves doesn't need to be the same person we are in public. It doesn't. Now, maybe that sounds odd, but it's true. You know, the people in the grocery store don't need to know your life story no more than anybody else. And if you're not close with family, there's some things you don't need to share with them. You don't need to justify your existence to them, only to yourself. So I'm not sure who that message is for specifically, but it feels like you're quite overwhelmed. So try to be kinder to yourself. I know that's easier for me to say and hard to do. Um, so somebody here who's been living a sober life that's a little bit worried about the holidays. You'll be okay. Just be careful. Um, and give yourself that freedom to go outside and take some deep breaths by yourself if you need to. Um, let's see what else is coming through here. Definitely lots of pictures being taken. This is good. Okay, let's see what we get from the cards. The King of Swords. So the King of Swords is somebody who's logical, who's wise, who's consistent in their behavior. And this is part of the reason why some of us are going to choose not to be with family. It's not that we dislike our family, it's just that we know it's not a good time to do it. Maybe if the energies were a little bit different, we'd be fine. But, it seems like there's always someone at these groups that can, maybe catch us the wrong way or make us, feel like we're walking on eggshells, and we've decided that we're not going to go. Just be comfortable with that decision. I think it's the right one, if that's for you. Yeah, the Seven of Wands being very protective, putting this bubble around ourselves to not let other people into our energy that we don't give permission to. Now, this applies in grocery stores and in shopping, and if you're going to do the Black Friday in person, especially those types of energies, just imagine a bubble around you, like the imagery here. And of course, she's sitting inside a crystal ball, but the bubble, I think, is the bigger picture here. So just imagine that bubble around you. And you can do this at any time, not just this week, anytime. And, if you're trying to protect yourself on an emotional level, maybe you make the bubble a little bit pink. Um, if you're trying to protect yourself on a physical level, maybe you make the bubble almost opaque in color to where nobody can see through. Um, so, whatever works for you, there's going to be that need. And we get temperance. I think the main thing is to know that this week is going to work out okay. It really is. Everybody that's traveling is going to be fine. Everybody that's not traveling is going to be fine. It's the energies are pretty pretty moderate, really, for compared to what we've been going through. The problem is that we're exhausted because we've been going through really hard energies up until about maybe 3 or 4 weeks ago. So we might still feel the need to to maybe not be as public facing as we normally are. So I would just be careful. The Knight of Swords, things are going to move really quickly. That's another really good thing to if you're feeling overwhelmed, just to remind yourself that it'll be over before you know it. Because this week will go by quickly. It really, really will. At the center of the reading, we get the Queen of Swords. Again, there's some wisdom to using our logic this week. Like, um, it's like sanity's starting to return to the world. So people are more consistent in their behavior, so we can analyze them in the way that we normally would. There'll be still the occasional people that aren't quite on that wavelength, that haven't quite had that energy catch up with them. So, use discernment, use your logic as you navigate through the week. I think, it will serve you pretty well. Now, logic's not very good at explaining emotions. So, if you're around somebody that's overly, I want to be careful how I phrase this. If you're around somebody that's just always, woe is me, the world is dark, that type of energy, that's going to be really hard to overcome. That's when we're going to use the Seven of Sword or Seven of Wands energy. Um, do see that happening to a couple people, and I'm sure you know who I'm talking about. The Two of Pentacles, people are going to be traveling. If you are traveling, just know it's, make sure your iPad's fully charged, your phone's fully charged. Um, because it might be hard to find a spot in the airport to charge them. And of course, if you're in the car, if you some cars have chargers these days, but things might just take longer than you think, traveling wise. You do get the Ace of Wands. There's some spark of inspiration here. This is why I think, the people really rethinking careers, really thinking life goals. This is the right time to rethink that. Maybe even put it down on paper. I don't know that we go out and we act on it this week because, first of all, it's a short week as far as the work week goes, for most of us. But that spark of inspiration is going to be there, and so really listen. That spring card from the ancestors and angels oracles coming back, that those seeds that we plant and we watch grow. Sometimes we hear a seed and that gets planted in us and it grows in us. So we might find inspiration from outside sources, where they just say something that sparks something. That feels like that very much might happen for several people. Um, it's not that they're going to tell you exactly what you're going to do. It's just it's going to spark a thought that's going to lead to what you're talking about. There could be some rekindling of some relationships as well. Um, if you've been married for a while, for example, um, you might be feeling maybe a little bit emotionally distant at times. I feel like that kind of comes back together just because the energies kind of force us to kind of reconnect on an emotional level. If you're single and you're looking for, um, a significant other, this could be the time. It really could. It could be the time that you meet them. I don't know that the relationship starts this week. It's like you just meet them and then it maybe happens a little bit later down the road. And we get the Ten of Pentacles, which is about legacy. So this is again just reaffirmation about not feeling guilty about following traditions. Starting our own traditions are just as important. So using a lot of logic this week, um, to do things that make us feel good and the people close to us feel good. And that might not be family for some of us. That might be friends. There's definitely a chance for some sparks of creativity. And if you think about it logically, you'll find a way to implement it. And also, the week's going to go by really fast. And um, so we really need to listen closely for these things, these little seeds that get planted, for example. The week goes by fast. Use your self-protection bubble if you need to. Um, Probably feel a little defensive at times, not the whole week, certainly not. Definitely chances to get closer to loved ones and possibly find a romantic partner. And if you're traveling, just be prepared for the delays. Um, is what it feels like. What's underneath? We have planting seeds again. This is very akin to the spring card, the Seven of Pentacles. And we get circles of support, or the Three of Pentacles. So I think it's going to be a pretty good week. Definitely, the energy feels a lot better than some of the past weeks. So that's good. Okay, let's start some of uh, spirit animal oracles. Do we need to know this week? Do we need to know this week? It feels like, there are going to be points in time this week where we need to take deep breaths. Just remember that. Doesn't necessarily mean that the whole day is going to be overwhelming. It's like if we can stop it in its track and take a deep breath, um, we can kind of stop some of this uncomfortable feeling. But things are going to go by so fast that most of the feelings are going to be quite fleeting. Let's see what time needs to know. We get the hawk spirit. Let spirit be your guide. Listen for those signs, those symbols. Watch for them as well. When I say listen, I mean use all your senses, not just your ears. Listen, watch, smell. There might just be little tidbits of information out there that you're supposed to pick up on. Messages from past over loved ones, for example. The chameleon spirit acts as if this is for the person that is, I'm talking about putting on masks, and it's like you're almost a different person around your family, and it makes you feel weird after it's over. Um, it's about protection. That's what it's about. It's like why people laugh at the dentist office, right? Because they're uncomfortable. That's all it is. So don't beat yourself up over it. We can all do it at times. The pig spirit, use your mind wisely. This is where those creative thoughts let them flow, especially if you're, finding yourself in situations to where you can let your mind wander, like if you're waiting to get on a plane or on a plane or riding in a car, for example. These would all be good times for that. The stag spirit, take the lead. This applies to a good number of people that I think are making their own traditions this year, or they have in the past and they're continuing it and they're passing them down. This is a good thing, definitely. And then we get the cow spirit. The miracles are endless, which is certainly true. We just have to look, listen, smell for them. Smell sounds a little bit weird, but it's true. Sometimes we'll pick up like, a smell that takes us back to something nostalgic. So yeah, I think it's going to be a really, really good week. So happy Thanksgiving, and I will be back with another video soon.